Welcome back. This is lesson 1 of the Dynamic WordPress course for beginners. In this lesson, we'll talk about WordPress. I'm going to take you through downloading WordPress, installing it, and actually launching your very first website. But you may wonder, what is WordPress? Well, why don't we do what people do when they're trying to learn WordPress for the first time? Let's go to Google and find it out. If we come here and just search for WordPress, here is what we find. We find on the right here that it says that WordPress is a content management system. And this is true because WordPress helps you to manage your content, and then you can display that content on the front end by any means that you choose. WordPress was originally created as a tool to help you publish blogs, and that is true. But over the years, WordPress has grown way more than that. It's more than just a blogging platform now, and you can build actual websites and web applications on WordPress. So, now that we know that, let's see how we can download WordPress. After searching, we found the first link here to be WordPress.com. But I want to tell you something for free. The WordPress.com website you find here is not where you download WordPress. In fact, this is the commercial part of WordPress. Where you find the free WordPress, because WordPress actually is free, is in WordPress.org. It's a free open source platform that you can make use of. But many people get frustrated the moment they click on WordPress.org, because at this point, you only find that you cannot actually begin to build your website. What you have here is the possibility of clicking on Get WordPress and actually downloading WordPress for yourself. Now, if you just click on this and download it, you would find that what you have downloaded is just a zip file, a bunch of files inside a zip file for you to make use of. And for many beginners, this is a problem because they don't really understand how to make use of it. But I'm going to tell you just how you can make use of WordPress. Because of the fact that what you have inside of here is just a bunch of PHP files, it means that it is not possible for you to just download it and begin to use WordPress. You would need somewhere to actually install WordPress, somewhere that has the environmental variables needed. Now, it looks like I'm beginning to get things complicated, but I really am not. What I'm trying to say is that in order to run WordPress, you need what is called a hosting provider. And if you click here and see all recommended hosts inside of here, you would find that you have a number of web hosts that are recommended by WordPress for you to install WordPress and begin to run your website. One of the very reputable ones here is Hostinger. You can just click on this link here and you'll be going straight to the Hostinger website. Right here, you see that you have to subscribe for a certain amount of money every single month to have your website running on their servers. But why? And even more importantly, is it possible for you to begin to make use of WordPress without actually paying any money whatsoever for it? Yes, it is. And I'm going to show you just how you can do that. But for those of you who are not familiar with running a website on a web hosting service, just keep in mind that the web works this way. 1. A person tries to access the internet. He comes inside of his browser and clicks on a new tab, for example. Inside of here, he needs to type in what is known as the domain name. In other words, what is going to be typed in there is actually a link directing the person to the web hosting service on which his website lives. So if a person types in a website such as Crocoblock.com and clicks on enter, now the person is led to the website of Crocoblock. Where is Crocoblock hosted? We don't know. But what we know for sure is the fact that clicking on this particular domain name took us to the Crocoblock website. So it's hosted somewhere and the domain name points us right there. Now, it means that for you to have your own website, what you need to do is actually buy a domain name or get a free domain, as is the case for Hostinger right here. And then you need to have a web hosting, which is just simply a computer somewhere on the internet where you can have all your files stored. Now, a person who tries to access your domain name will be linked to your web hosting. And in that case, your website loads up. Now, I'm not going to show you how to go through buying a plan right here on Hostinger and then actually running WordPress on the internet. I'm instead going to show you an easy and even free way to do it right on your own computer. Sometime in the future, we'll talk about moving it from your computer straight to the internet. For now, if you want to buy a web hosting service, go ahead and buy one. But for now, if you want to download WordPress to your computer and treat your computer as though it is a web hosting service, I'm going to show you just how you can do that right now. You need to come up here and search for, you're going to click on the new tab here and just search for local WP. Once you search for local WP, you'll be brought to this website right here, which is a WordPress development tool, an offline WordPress development tool. What it simply does is to help you to run WordPress on your computer as though you yourself are a web hosting provider. So let's do that. Let's download local WP by clicking on it. Once we're on this page here, we're going to click on download right here or download for free right here. Whichever we choose to click on is our choice. Once we click on it, we'll be asked for certain details. For example, we're going to be asked for the platform on which we want to download it. In my case, it's Windows, so I'm going to select that. Select whatever fits your own case. Then I'm going to enter my name. I'm also going to enter my last name. And then I'm going to select my organization type. In my own case, I am an independent freelancer. I'm also a consultant, so that makes complete sense. Now inside of here, I want to enter my work email. In this case, I'm going to write me@tobisalami.com. And that's my email address, so I'm ready to click on Get It Now. And once I do that, it's going to begin downloading local WP. It's just an app to help me to manage my WordPress website on my computer offline. Now, while this is downloading, just keep in mind that local WP is not the only application that you can make use of in order to run WordPress offline. There are others, such as DevKinster, that you can also make use of. So you might wonder, why do these companies create applications such as this that help you run WordPress offline for free? Because the companies behind them are also web hosts. For example, for DevKinster, they're a managed WordPress hosting provider, and they also provide WordPress hosting services. So just like Local by Flywheel, WP Engine and Flywheel are also web hosting providers, and they just want you to have an app that you can use to build your website, and when you're ready to go live, you just send it straight into their web hosting service and begin to pay for them. So let's make use of local. I'm going to show you, don't worry, you don't have to be locked into any of these providers. I'm going to show you sometime in the future how to move your website from your offline version into your online version, regardless of the web host that you choose. Now, this is done. So I'm just going to click on the installation file right here. Depending on what your operating system is, that's going to depend on what you see right here. So I'm just going to click on that, and here I'm going to click on Run. Now, when I click on Run, it's going to bring up the model for me to begin to install local WP. So here it asks who I want to install this for. I'm just going to say anyone who uses this computer. I'm going to click on Next. I'm going to select where I want this installed and click on Install. Now it's going to go through the process of actually installing Local by Flywheel. Let's just minimize this and wait. Now it says that the setup is complete, so I need to click on Finish. I'm also going to leave Run Local enabled so that it begins to open the Local by Flywheel app. Now, Local by Flywheel is ready to be used. I just need to maximize this and click on Create a New Site. What I'm doing right now is actually creating a WordPress website. So I'm going to select Create a New Site and click on Continue. Once I click on Continue, I'll be asked for my site's name. What do you want me to call it? Let's say I want to call this Test Website. Something like that should be fine. Keep in mind that whatever you call it here can be changed sometime later. Once I select that, I'm going to click on Continue. Right now, it's going to ask me for an environment that I want as my choice. I'm going to select Preferred and just click on Continue. Now, why did I do that? It's because it really doesn't matter at this stage of the tutorial. I'm going to talk about this sometime in the future. But for now, I'm just going to give a username and a password for my WordPress installation. Keep in mind that whatever you set in here as the username and password will not affect the WordPress.com or the WordPress.org website. It's all going to be for your local experience right here. So let's give this a username. The username, I would call this, of course, anything I intend to call it. In my case, I'm just going to call this admin. Whatever you call it here really doesn't matter. Just keep in mind that what you call it here will be used to log into your website. Now, inside of password here, I'm going to type in my password. I'm going to just type in my password. Okay. Now, I don't know if you want to know what my password is, but if you do want to know, that's it. Now, inside of WordPress email here, I'm going to type in my email. I'm going to type in any email of my choice. You type whatever suits you. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm just going to click on Add Site. What it will do now is just go ahead and download a copy from WordPress.org. Remember, the file from WordPress.org is going to download a copy of that, and then it's going to make use of that file in order to build my website. Now, this application I installed comes with everything that's needed to run a website. I'm excited for what's happening next. Oops, it's done. Let's go ahead. Now, what we see here is the site's domain. Remember I said that you're going to be acting like a web hosting company on your own by installing this on your computer? Exactly. Now you have a domain that you can use on your own local install. It means, therefore, that if you copy this right here and you take this to a browser on your own computer and run this, you should have your website loading for you. But we can test that out. So let's see. Let's come here now, and we're just going to open a new tab and paste that domain right there, testwebsite.local. Let's click on enter and see what we have now. Does it work? Does it work? Is it loading? Yes, it is. For every single WordPress site, by default, you're going to log in by clicking on WP admin. In other words, you're going to go to this website, test.website.local, depending on what your domain name is, and you're going to follow that with wplogin.php, just like this. And once you click on that, you're going to land on the page that looks just like this, ready for you to log in to your WordPress website. So, using the same details as we used before, let's try now to log in to our website. So let's just do that right now by typing in our password, and we want to click on login. We have our WordPress website ready to use. If you hover over the home icon that you find here and click on visit site, let's just open that in a new tab, you would notice that WordPress is ready to use. This is your test website ready to be worked on right here on your computer. If you turn off your internet right now and try to load things and click around, things are going to work just fine, except with a few exceptions. And I'm going to show you that in a bit. Now, if we come back to the hosting provider, any hosting provider of your choice, you would notice that they talk about something here called SSL. You're going to see it right here. If you scroll down, you're going to find among the plans, you're going to find SSL. It says you have unlimited free SSL. What that simply means is that you're going to have a secure communication between the users of your website and the website itself. No one will be able to intercept the traffic between the users and your website. Now, if that's getting complicated, what that simply means in lay terms is this. If you open the website we just created, you see it is not secure. It says this is not secure. Your connection to this site is not secure. To make that secure, you need to install an SSL certificate. This is something that most web hosting providers will take care of out of the box for you. But in our case, since we're our own web hosting provider right now, we need to find a way to activate our SSL. It doesn't mean the website will stop working. The website is working right now, but it just helps us to work on it securely. So let's come back here to local WP, and right here, we can click on trust. Where we see SSL, we can click on trust. Now, what that did is that it installed an SSL certificate for us, and that SSL certificate will mean that our website will be fully secure, and we will no longer have this not secure message showing right here. But we need to do one more thing. We need to come to the dashboard here. We need to come inside here to settings. We want to come to general inside of our WordPress website. This is on all of the WordPress websites, regardless of how you installed it. This is how it's going to look in the back end. And right here inside of WordPress URL, we want to change this to HTTPS. And why? Because every single secure website needs to have an S after HTTP. And you see it right here. If you try to check inside of Hostinger, you see HTTPS. If you try local WP, you see HTTPS. So why should ours be different? Let's get that done. We're going to come inside of site address URL here and also type HTTPS. Once we're done with that, we're going to click on Save Changes. Now, once that is done, you're going to be logged out and asked to log in again. But this time, you notice something different here. You no longer have the not secure right here. You have a connection is secure and you're ready to use your WordPress website securely. Okay? We can go ahead now to log into our website by simply typing in the details as we had them before. And we're going to click on Login. And once we log into our WordPress website now, we're going to have everything ready to go as a secure website. Now that we have that done, let me show you around the WordPress dashboard. Once you install a WordPress website, this is kind of what you expect to see. You're going to see this Welcome to WordPress here. You're going to be seeing different indications of different areas of the site for you to click through. You would be told that you can add a new page. You can open the site editor to begin editing your website. You can also edit the styles on your website, just like that. And it's true, you can do all of this. But for now, I'm just going to click on Dismiss. I'm also going to show you what the site health status is as we go on in this tutorial. But for now, I want to open screen options here and toggle off site status because we don't need that right now. You also have the ability to look at all the posts on your site, the pages, the comments, but I also don't need that right now. I want to keep a clean WordPress install, so I'm just going to toggle that off. Inside of activity here, you also have the recently published post. For example, you have the post called Hello World. You also have comments from that post right here showing inside of activity. If you want to keep this on, keep it on, but I'm going to toggle it off for now. I want to keep a clean WordPress dashboard. Inside of Quick Draft here, you can quickly type in a title and content and quickly create a post. And this is if you use WordPress as a blog. But this is not the only function of WordPress, as I said before. So let's just toggle this off for now. Also, you see WordPress events and news. This is just WordPress events happening around the world. I'm also going to toggle that off for now. And now I have a very clean WordPress dashboard to begin with. Let me just show you around the different menu items in WordPress. And sometime as we develop websites in future lessons, I'm going to show you in depth the use of each of these features. Now, inside of here, you see you have the dashboard home, which is exactly where we are. You also have updates, which will show you whether the current WordPress installation is the latest one. And if it is not the latest one, you have the ability to actually install the latest version of WordPress. Right now is the latest version. We're good to go. Inside of plugins here, you see all of the plugins that are not updated and you can update them. Right now, we see all our plugins are up to date. And what that simply means, truthfully speaking, is that I have no plugins installed currently on this website. But I have themes installed and there is a theme here that needs update. So I'm going to select that theme and click on Update Themes. And this just helps me bring my site up to date. And once the update is done, my site is up to date. I have no notice here for any new updates. I'm good to go. I'm going to talk about plugins and themes sometime soon, so just hold your horses, okay? Now, if all of this is getting interesting, wait for the interesting part. We're not there yet. Now, you also have posts right here, which is simply all of the posts on your website. If you're a news agency and you're publishing news articles on your website, this is where you create your post. You can view all of the posts. You can add a new post. You can create categories to categorize the post. For example, there could be sports, there could be lifestyle, and any such categories. This is where you create them. You also have tags, which are just simply tags. That's what they are. They also help in categorizations, but I'm also going to talk about categories and tags in lesson 4 of this course. Now, inside of media here, you also have the ability to see all of your media library items. So let's say you want to upload pictures or you want to upload videos or audio. This is where you update them. Remember I talked about web hosting companies as having to store all your files that are on your website. This is where you upload those files, and those files will actually really be uploaded to those web hosting services. But if you're like me and you're running this offline right now, anything you upload here is just simply being copied to a different location on your own computer. Now you have the ability to click on Add New Media File. You can drag and drop those files here, or you can just click on Select Files and pick them from your computer. You also have the ability to add and manage pages here. You can add a new page. You have the ability to delete pages and stuff like that. Manage things like a privacy policy page, a sample page. If you want to create a home page, this is where you do it. You're just going to click on add new page, give the page a title, and you have created a new page. I'm going to talk about all of this in detail in a future lesson. These pages are just like posts. If you click on posts, you also have the same thing showing right there. You can add a new post, you can manage your post, you can do all of that nice stuff. If you come down here to comments, you can see all of the comments made on every single post on your website listed here. You can delete the comments, you can manage those comments right here. Inside of Appearance, you also have the ability to manage your themes. Now, why is themes inside of Appearance? Now, here is where I differentiate for you the difference between WordPress themes and WordPress plugins. Now, these two concepts are different. WordPress themes help you mostly to manage the appearance of your website. That's no wonder that it's under Appearance. It helps you to manage how your website looks and feels. And that means, therefore, that if you change your theme, you would be changing essentially how your website looks. Now, let's view the website in the front end. Let's just see how the website currently looks, and then let's try to change the theme and see what happens here. Keep in mind that themes that are on your website can be installed from various sources. You can install the themes from the WordPress.org repository, which is absolutely free, or you can download the theme from anywhere else, any other website that provides you with a theme. Now, this is how the front end looks. It's nothing too fancy, just a blank WordPress website with lots of white space, as you can see it here. Really simple stuff. But if we come back to themes right now and just select any other theme, let's say the 2023 theme as we can find it here, I want to click on Activate. Let's activate the 2023 theme. As you can see, it's activated. We can close that and we can come to the front end and refresh this. Let's see what happens now. The look and the feel of your WordPress website changes. Now, does this mean that you have to rely on what these themes provide you with in order for you to determine how your website looks? Absolutely not. I'm going to show you in lesson 3 of this course how you can build out your pages yourself. I'm going to show you how you can organize your content and also display them according to your own style. But keep in mind, the theme determines the look and the feel of your website. Now, in the next menu item here, you can click on the editor if you want to edit this particular theme, the way the site currently looks and feels, depending on this particular theme. Now, this is entirely your choice, and what shows here inside of Appearance also depends on the theme that is currently being installed. For example, if you want to add a new theme and install a new theme, let's click on Add New Theme and just, pick any theme that we find right here on the WordPress repository. You can see a list of themes. You can see there are 7,284 themes here, which is actually a huge number. So which theme do you want to pick? I'm going to talk about that also in lesson 3. But let's just, for the sake of this demonstration, just pick the Hello theme as an example. Let's click on Install here and see what options open up for us under Appearance. Once we click on Install, it's going to download that theme from the WordPress repository to your computer or to your web hosting service, depending on whatever you're currently using to run your WordPress website. Now, I'm going to click on Activate here so that it can activate the downloaded theme. Once I click on Activate, what happens now? Again, I'm going to come to the front end. I'm going to refresh this, and you can see the look and the feel of the website changes once again. Let's come back to the back end now and see what we have. We see a number of other options open up for us here, and that means, therefore, that depending on the theme you have installed, what you have in the menu items here can also change. Let's come back to our 2025 theme for now and just activate that. Keep in mind, this is what themes do. Now, if we come to plugins, we can see a list of plugins we have on our website. Right now, we have 0 plugins on our website. So what are plugins, and are they necessary to help you to run your websites? Yes, they are. And plugins are simply a way to add additional functionality to your website. For example, let's say you're building your website and you're thinking to yourself, how do I collect leads? Let's say I'm trying to have a newsletter on my website and I want to know how to collect leads, collect email addresses from people so that I can later send them an email. How do I do this? You need to, of course, create what is known as a form. Again, I'm going to talk about forms in future lessons. But for now, let me do a quick introduction to how you can install a WordPress plugin. Let's say you want to install a form builder plugin. This plugin is going to help you to build out forms and be able to use those forms to collect information of your choice. Let's say I want to do that. I'm going to click on Add New Plugin here, and I'm going to search for the plugin name. What is the plugin I'm going to search for? It depends on what plugin you intend to use, but there are thousands of these plugins in the WordPress repository. Now I'm going to install a plugin that I'm very comfortable with and is also created by the company on which channel you're currently watching this course. It's created by Crocoblock and it's called JetForm Builder. Just search for JetForm Builder. It's a free plugin. It also has a pro version, which means if you need more features, you would need to pay some money sometime in the future, but you can entirely depend on the free version here. So I'm going to install here the free version of JetForm Builder. Just going to click on install. Every single plugin that you find right here on WordPress is free. It's free for use and it will always be that way. At least that's what WordPress told us. However, keep in mind, there are also pro plugins or plugins that add additional functionality, but that you would need to pay for on a different website, but you would need to download the file of that plugin and then come here and install it. And to install such plugins, you would just need to click on Upload Plugin. You would need to drag the file that is given to you right here, or just click on Choose File and pick the file that you downloaded and install it here. All the plugins that are available to you, again, on the WordPress repository here, are free to use. So we have installed JetForm Builder. Let's click on Activate now because we have JetForm Builder installed and we're ready to make use of it. JetForm Builder is installed and it's activated, as you can see here. And that is the only plugin I have available. Well, you notice something else, that on the WordPress menu here, you have JetForm Builder added as an option here. One new menu item added. Now, this means, therefore, that the plugins or themes that you have installed on your website can determine what you see right here on the menu. So it means if you look at a different WordPress website and you are overwhelmed by the number of menu items there, just keep in mind it's determined by both the plugins and the themes installed on the website. So for JetForm Builder now, we know that we can very easily add a new form. We can build out a form and then use that form on our website. That's simply how you can install a plugin and make use of it. I'm not going to show you in detail right now how to use JetForm Builder, but I definitely am going to show you how to do that in this same course. Okay, now let's deactivate it by just simply clicking on Deactivate, and JetForm Builder is deactivated. I'm going to introduce you to the next menu item here, which is the Users menu item. If you click on that, you can see all of the users of your site. You notice here that your own user account, the one we both created, remember when we created this, is right here with the username admin. We have also the email address here, and you also have the role. The role you give it here absolutely matters because the role of administrator is the highest role in any WordPress installation. So right now, as you can see it here, this role has the ability to actually edit other users and also delete them too. If you want to add a new user, all you need to do is click on Add New User. Right here, you can type in a username, an email address, you can type in a password right here or use the generated password if you so desire, but you would need to specify a role. In this case, you can select either subscriber, contributor, author, editor, or administrator. Just keep in mind that each of these roles have the ability to do different things. For example, the administrator role here will have the ability to do pretty much every single thing. The administrator role here can delete other users, it can delete posts on the site, it can delete pages and stuff like that. It has the maximum capability. I'm going to leave this part to you to find out. Let me know in the comment section what you find when you tested this out. Now, if you want to, you can come to the profile menu item right here and you can edit your own user profile. You can change the color scheme of your admin account. For example, if you change it to something like this, it just changes the color scheme of that particular user account. You can choose to disable the visual editor here by clicking on disable visual editor. And what that simply means is that when you're trying to edit a post or edit your page on your website, you would not have that visual editing experience as you currently have. Let's see what it currently is right now. Let's say we want to edit a post that currently exists on our website. Let's see what it is right now and see what it will be if we disable the visual editing experience. If we edit a post right here, we can see that what we have here is the block editor. It says here, welcome to the block editor, and thank you. We're just going to close that out. And what we have here is a simple, very intuitive writing experience. We can write our posts right here. We can add in new blocks. For example, we can add in a block of an image. And if we select that, we're then going to be able to upload an image right here and put an image right here inside of this post. We can also change the title just like this or change the other parts of the content. It's actually very visual, intuitive, and interesting when you write content. So let's come back here and disable the visual editor and click on update profile. We now want to edit the same post and see what happens now. Once we click on reload, take note that here we have the title that we can enter. We also would need to start adding HTML. As you can see, you have the paragraph tag, open and close here, stuff like that. If you understand the language of HTML, you'll begin to understand this. But we don't want to code here. What we want to do here is just simply add and manage our website. So let's come back to the profile and enable it again by unticking that and click on update profile. Now that we have that done, I'm going to just show you around the other parts of the user profile here that it really is important. You can disable the toolbar here when viewing the site. If we come to the front end here, you see this black toolbar at the top here. It just helps you go around the site. For example, you can log out by hovering over your username right here. You can also come back to the dashboard by hovering over that and clicking on dashboard and plugins and themes, stuff like that. Okay, so that's the toolbar. If you want to disable it, this is where you do it. You untick that, you come down here, you click on update profile, and then you come to the front end and refresh. And that toolbar is completely off. It only shows, keep in mind, to those who are currently logged in to the website. It's just a quick management menu for your current website. So now that we're back here, just keep in mind that you can change the language that you want to view your website in. You have a variety of languages to choose from here. All of these languages are supported and continually updated by volunteers all over the world. All you need to do is change to your language, and that user account is going to be viewing the site in that language. The entire site can be changed to a different language, and I'm going to show you just how to do that as we proceed. But I'm going to leave the rest of the options here for you to take a look at, and if something is confusing for you, just let me know in the comment section below and I'll be happy to assist with that. I want to know what you find, and when you find anything at all, just let me know in the comment section below and I'll give you a thumbs up. Okay, now you can proceed to tools. Tools is where you do quite a number of things, such as being able to convert your categories to your tags. I showed you what they are. I showed you right here inside of posts that you have categories and tags. You can convert one to the other using the tools, categories and tags converter. You also have the ability here to import. You can import stuff from a different WordPress website, as you can see down here. You can import like your posts, you can import pages, comments, stuff like that from a different website using this tool right here. Now, you can also do things like export, which would mean that you're going to take everything that is inside of WordPress if you want to select all content, or you want to take just specific things such as posts and pages or media, and you want to export all of this to a different WordPress website. So this is where you first come to if you want to export your files, and you come to import on the different WordPress website and bring those things from there. This is entirely your choice, but we're not going to cover this right now. Again, what I'm doing right now is just to get you familiar with the WordPress dashboard. I want you to be comfortable going around and clicking around places in the WordPress dashboard and not being scared of hurting your sites or messing things up. We come inside of site health here. This part is important because it helps you to know what your health of your site is. For example, you could have security recommendations as you currently have here. Recommendations such as to delete plugins that are inactive. And this is important because plugins and themes that are inactive are also just another bunch of code lying around inside of your WordPress website. And hackers can take advantage of this, especially if there's a vulnerability in the code. If that's getting complicated, just keep in mind that what you need to do will be told to you by your site health feature right here. What this simply means, if you care to know, is that I currently cannot schedule posts on my website and have it publish sometime later in the future on its own. I would have to manually come on my website and click on publish. And that's just because my website, my computer right now, is actually not set up to run cron, something known as cron. It's not important right now for a tutorial, but just keep in mind if you see this error, contact your web hosting provider and they will definitely fix that for you. Inside of info, you can see all of the stuff that make up your WordPress website. I'm definitely not going to go through every single item on this list, but just keep in mind that everything here will tell you exactly how your WordPress website is running. For example, if you click on this, you're going to be able to see the version of WordPress that your current website is running. You're also going to be able to see the site language, your own user language, stuff like that. All of these important details, they're inside of here. So check them out. You also have the ability to export personal data if you want to select a username and export all of the data of that user, or you want to erase the personal data by just clicking on that menu item right there, and you can type in the username and email address of any user on the site and get the information that they have entered on the site completely wiped out. Here, inside of theme file editor, I do not recommend any beginner to come in here or to make any changes here because you will be dealing directly with the code. It says right here, heads up, you're preparing to make direct edits to your theme in WordPress. So you're going to be modifying code. If you want to do this, absolutely do it, but only do it if you know what you're doing. You could lock yourself out. You can make very drastic changes. So be careful what you touch here. If we have an intermediate or advanced course in the future, we'll definitely be touching these places. But for now, let's just click on go back. The same applies to the plugin file editor in which you can edit all of your plugin files. The plugins, your themes, these are just files of code. These are just code that are installed on your WordPress website, which you definitely can modify right here. There are no limits to what you can do here, meaning you can break stuff, so you don't want to do that. I'm going to click on go back for now, and I'm going to come to the last menu item here on the list, which is settings. Inside of the settings here, you can change the site title. I told you when we're setting this up that you can very easily change what the site title here would be. You can also add a tagline, which is just a simple expression telling us what your website is about. Here, you can type in whatever you want if you so desire. Inside of site icon, you can choose a site icon. Right now, I don't have a site icon, but what it is just what you see right here. You see for Hostinger, you see they have a site icon. You see for local, they have a site icon right there. For Devkinster, they have a site icon right there. So that's what the site icon is, and this is where you upload that. We came here before. I showed you how to change this from HTTP to HTTPS to keep your site secure, and we did that. We can also change the administrator email address right here, and we can also enable or disable the ability of people to register to create a new account on our WordPress website. But this is entirely your choice. I do not recommend, however, to select administrator here because it means anyone who signs up to your website will have the absolute ability to delete you from your WordPress website. Here, you can also select the site language. These will affect all the users on the site. Any user who has currently not changed their language will have this language change here affect them. So if you change the language here, it will change for all of the users on the site, except those who have inside of their own user profile selected their own user language. So you can change that if you so desire. Again, this is supported by volunteers all over the world, and you can contribute too. If you need to contribute, go to wordpress.org and you'll find out how to contribute. Inside of here, you can select your time zone. My time zone is UTC +1. I know that because I can very easily Google search it. You should Google search it too if you're not sure. And once you select that, you can change your time zone to the time zone of your own location. And it's your choice. That will determine what shows up as the date or the time on posts that you create on your WordPress website. And here you can select the date and time format and also select the start of the week. Once you're done, click Save. And now we have the settings on our site saved. Keep in mind, whatever settings you change here will affect every single person using your WordPress website and not just yourself. If you come inside of the writing menu option here, you see all of these options that help you to manage your website as if you're managing a blog. Again, we're not running our WordPress website as just a blog. We're running it as an actual content management system that can help us do literally anything. So we're going to leave all the options as is. It really doesn't matter whether we select the default post category or not. If this is something that concerns you, you should definitely check it out. But for me, I'm just going to leave that as is and go to reading. Now, inside of reading, this is important because it can determine what your website is going to look like in the front end. And what does that mean? It can determine whether your homepage will show your latest post or will show a static page. But what does that even mean? If we come to the front end here and just refresh this, let's see what we have here. We notice here in the front end that our blog shows, and it also shows the post that we have created on the website, which is Hello World. This post comes as part of the default WordPress installation. Once you spin up a WordPress site, you have Hello World coming right along with it. But it means, therefore, that what is showing on the homepage right now is a list of all the posts we have on our website, right? But we could also change that. We could make it so that when a person loads our website, what the person sees is a homepage that we have designed for ourselves. And to set that, we'll first need to come inside of Pages and add a new page. Let's just add a new page. Inside of a new tab, we're going to give this page a name of our choice. If you choose to call it Homepage, it's entirely your choice. You can see here that you're given a list of patterns to choose from. And you can choose a pattern that can help you as a good starting point to begin developing your website. But we're not going to be developing websites this way. So let's just close this for now. I'm going to talk about how to actually to design your website, structure it in a way that makes sense, but that's not something we want to delve into for now. Right now, we just want to create a page, a blank page that has nothing but the title homepage. So let's just type that inside of there. Let's type homepage and we're going to click on publish. Now it's going to ask us if we're sure we want to publish it. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to click on publish. It's going to say homepage is now live, and that's good. And so if we come back to the main page here and refresh this, what do we have? The exact same thing we had before, except inside of the menu item here, we now have homepage as an option. But this is not currently the homepage. If we click on homepage here, we see it goes to homepage, but it adds inside of the URL here, homepage. So in order for us to make this the actual homepage, we need to select that inside of the reading settings here. So we're going to come inside of the reading settings here, and inside of here, we want to select a static page. And then we want to select that homepage. We see we don't have that option here, and that's because we just created a homepage. So let's refresh this, and we're going to select that again. And inside of here, we want to select homepage. Keep in mind the title of the homepage, even though I call it homepage, really doesn't matter. Whatever you want to make your homepage is what you select here. And when you select that, you can click on Save Changes. Now, if you come to the front end and actually click on the homepage by clicking on Test Website right here, you see you have homepage loading right here. You also see in the URL, you don't have /homepage. If you come to homepage, which is in the menu item right here, and click on it, you're landing on the exact same page. So the homepage is where you first land on. And that is now what our static page is. And that is what we set it right here. If we want to have a page where we show all our posts, all we need to do is also go create that page. And then we want to select that page here as the post page. And that's going to show all of our posts on our website. Now you can also determine how many posts show at once and all such settings as it relates to a blog. But here is another important part. If you're creating this website right now on a web host such as Hostinger, and your website is currently being exposed to the internet, you don't want people coming on your website because they found you on Google and then they come on your website and your website is still under development. So in order to signify to search engines that your website is still under development, all you need to do is tick this box right here. So inside of search engine visibility, you want to tick discourage search engines from indexing this site. And some search engines, such as Google, will honor this request and they will not come on your website or crawl your website to find the content there because they know you are still working on your website. Once you're done and you're ready to go live, you want to come back here and untick this and click on Save Changes. If you're working on local, just like me, on my own computer, it really doesn't matter what you set here because Google really cannot crawl my website. This domain name right here is not accessible to any other person except me, right here on my computer. If I try to access this using any other person's computer, it will load absolutely nothing, okay? So don't send me this link asking me to check your website. I absolutely will not be able to check your website, okay? Now, inside of discussion here, you also have the ability to select settings as it relates to people commenting on your website. We're not going to delve too much into this because we're not building our website just as a regular blog. We're building it as a complete website. So I ask you, go through this. Let me know if you're having any troubles and I'll be happy to help you out. We're going to come inside of media now and you can see that you have the ability to set things up as it relates to uploads on your website. But while we're building our website, I'm going to show you why you don't even need to toy with the settings right here. If you come inside Permalinks, here is another important part for you to take note of. Keep in mind that what changes you make here will also affect every single person on your WordPress website. Right here, you have the ability to select your permalink structure. And what it simply means is that you can select how your URL is going to look. So let's take, for example, the sample page which we created on our website. If we come to the front end here and we view the sample page, we see the title here says sample page. Excellent. But it also at the very top here says sample page. Why? Because the post name right here, or the page name, however you want to call it, is also reflected inside of the URL. If we click on edit page here, inside of the toolbar at the top here, you would notice that once this page loads, we have the ability to change the link title right here on the right. We can click on that and we can adjust this to read something else. But by default, what it does is that it takes the name right here of the title of the page and actually uses that to create a link for us. Now we can change the behavior of that by coming back inside of the permalink settings right here, and we can change that to something else. For example, we can say that it should be a plain value. And by plain value, what we mean when we click on Save Changes, we'll find out is that it should take the post ID, the ID of this particular post, and use that in the URL. Let's see if that happens. Once we refresh this now, we're going to see what the link here changes to. If we click on link here, we see inside of here, once we click on link and we go to the front end, what we have here is page ID equals to 2. That's exactly what we have here. We no longer have a very simple and nice looking pretty name, sample page. Now, why is this important? Search engines such as Google would sometimes rely on the content of the URL to tell them what is inside the main page. So the URL should generally be readable. It's what search engines refer to as pretty permalinks, because the URL carries a pretty rendition of the name of the page. Now, if we come inside of the permalink settings here, we have the ability to set it to pretty permalinks by simply selecting post name. And that will mean that it is the name of the post that will be translated inside of the URL, thereby helping search engines to understand what is the content of your page. So in most cases, leave it as post name and move right ahead. Now I'm going to click on Save Changes right here, and my permalink settings are saved. Now inside of privacy, if we come down to privacy right here, we have the ability to create a privacy policy page, or we can select from the list of pages on our website, one page to serve as our privacy policy page. Now, because of user data protection laws and the fact that most countries are pushing to ensure that you publicize how you make use of the user data that you collect, this is an important part of WordPress. Privacy policy. Once you create a page, you also have a privacy policy guide. If you come to policy guide right here, you have the ability to see what is usually required of you when you create a privacy policy page. For example, who you are, what kind of data you collect, if they're personal data and why you collect that, how comments are handled, how the media is handled, stuff like that. All of that is stuff that should be inside of your privacy policy page. Therefore, when you do create a privacy policy page, you want to select that right here. Also, if you're building your website out yourself, you should have a link to your privacy policy page in the front end so that someone who comes on your website can find and click on your privacy policy page. But I can't tell you what to do. This is entirely dependent on you. And that brings us to the end of all of the menu items here on our WordPress dashboard. I took time to go through not every single aspect of it, but most of what is important for you in developing your WordPress website. It is important that you understand this because this will be the basis for us to go ahead and build our WordPress website. Our next lesson is going to be an introduction to page building in WordPress. And I'm going to show you just how you can manage your fonts, your colors, and other things that can help you determine how your design of your website is going to be. What is going to be the look and the feel of your WordPress website? This is all going to be exposed to you in the next lesson. All you need to do is stay tuned. This was lesson 1, an introduction to installing and managing WordPress. We are done with the boring stuff. On to the next. See you then.